With Ubisoft Forward being right around the corner, should we expect to see any Rainbow Six Mobile news? And what do we think would be revealed if R6 Mobile is discussed at all? We'll be breaking down everything that I hope is going to be revealed in today's video. If you're new here and want to see more mobile gaming content, then please subscribe to the channel. It's free and helps me out a lot. Now let's get right into this video. So first off, you all might remember that it was about 3 months ago when the R6 Mobile developers announced that they were going to take a break from rolling out new content so they could focus on polishing the game. Now before I talk about what we should expect to see in the next R6M reveal, let's first address what they're hopefully going to be fixing. I think it's also important to note that not only a week after this announcement was put out by R6 Mobile did Warzone Mobile release globally, and I'm sure that the R6M developers probably took some notes. Now the Warzone Mobile community was outraged upon this game's release because the game suffered from performance and device heating issues in addition to graphics being pretty horrible. This was mainly due to the fact that Warzone Mobile uses the same process for graphics as its PC counterpart. Instead of downloading the assets to the device, they are streamed to the device using its internet connection, which makes it really hard for a mobile device to run Warzone Mobile properly. As it stood, only a small handful of upper-end devices could actually support the game, and even the majority of those would still be very laggy and deal with overheating. I even tried the game out myself, and I have the iPad Pro 2022, which was one of the newest iPad Pros with the M2 chip, and I couldn't play the game for more than an hour and a half without my iPad being hot enough that I could probably scramble some eggs on the back of it. While I'm not trying to openly diss on Warzone Mobile, I think it's pretty apparent that they struggled hard with optimization, and that's partially where Rainbow Six Mobile has them beat, but emphasis on the partially. Rainbow Six Mobile does provide a wider supported list of devices, but it's still limited to relatively newer phones. I think that this will always damage a mobile game's revenue since the majority of the profits come from consumers who can't really afford to get a PC or console and go with a cheaper phone as an alternative. In addition, the game currently suffers from a 60 FPS cap, and many devices are hard stuck on 30 FPS with no option to raise it. I don't know much about mobile development myself, but I can tell you after playing Rainbow Six Mobile that it doesn't feel like it's super graphic intensive compared to other mobile titles that I've played, and I know those titles can get 120 FPS, and I feel like R6 Mobile should have that option as well, and at the very least, we should be able to get a clean 60 FPS on relatively newer phones. I really hope that this is an issue that the developers are tackling because it's very possible that when the game opens up to a wider audience that players are going to get upset by the FPS limits. I already know some people kind of talked about it when the game first launched in open beta, and the developers were talking about how they're going to address it, with optimization and stuff, so hopefully they are working on that. Warzone Mobile did suffer a similar fate, where when the game was first launched and they had the soft launch for basically over an entire year, there weren't many complaints, maybe people voiced their opinions, and then they just went ahead and rolled out into the global launch, and that's when all of the hate started pouring in, and I'd hate to see that same thing happen to Rainbow Six Mobile, so hopefully they are going to tackle a lot of the optimization issues that the game currently faces. The next thing that I hope gets resolved has to do with gameplay. I won't lie, when I first got into R6 Mobile, it was very fun to abuse red scans from the drone pings and the cameras because it scans your full body and gives you free wallbang kills, but as time went on, I only got more and more annoyed by this. I really hope that red pings are going to get nerfed to the way they work in normal seasons at some point because it's not competitively viable to just get absolutely destroyed through a wall just because there is a camera on you. I would say the only reason this doesn't feel too broken right now is because Twitch is very meta in the game and her drones are also insanely busted. I'm sorry, but the Twitch drone does not need to have aimbot on gadgets. I'd be fine with the drone having a little aimbot if you're aiming close enough to a target, but I definitely do not think that the target should be highlighted on your screen. There are so many vault camera spots that require a lot of time and planning, and they just get completely negated by a Twitch drone rolling by that gets the vault camera highlighted all bright on their screen so that you don't miss it. If red pings and vault cameras are adjusted, then ranked might feel more fun to play again. Another issue that needs to be fixed has to deal with the servers. Now currently the game is only operating on North and South American servers if I'm correct, and we don't really have servers for the rest of the world because they were shut down whenever the game kind of went into its break mode. Now hopefully we're going to get these servers back up and running, but more importantly I think another feature we should have as players is the ability to see what our ping is in game, or at the very least be able to see where the server that we're connected to in the game is located, because right now I'm not gonna lie, it's very annoying to just load into a game and have no idea what server I'm playing on, how my lag is gonna be like, and maybe at some point I'll just get red latency and get booted from the match. And while we're on that topic of getting booted, another thing that I hope is going to get adjusted is the whole getting kicked from rank and being able to rejoin thing, because it seemed like it was working for a little bit, but then it kind of stopped working. So hopefully the developers have at least brought back the version of being able to rejoin where you'll be able to spawn in the next round. I think that was the best version that they could have rolled out for now, and hopefully that's gonna be something that we see added back in the game soon. Now, the final thing that I really hope gets fixed has to deal with the controller inputs. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've never personally had these problems, and I regularly test it just to see if it still works, but I always get comments on my controller video about how people are saying that their inputs are glitched and are not working or overlapping with each other. Hopefully this is something that the dev team will have fixed, because I imagine that a lot of the R6 players who are going to be trying out mobile would want to be playing on their controller since they can connect it. So if it doesn't even work, they might not feel motivated to play the game. With my desired fixes out of the way, let's quickly talk about what new features I hope are going to get announced at Ubisoft Forward. The first one is probably very obvious, but I hope that it's going to be the release of custom games. Now again, I've talked about this a lot, I've emphasized it in previous videos, and the developers have even commented saying they understand the importance of having custom games, but I'm just going to reiterate that I think the community could carry this game so hard if we just had custom games. We could be in this current phase of no new content updates and all that right now, but the second that we get custom games, it opens up a whole new opportunity for esports and content to help grow the game and solidify it as a competitive mobile shooter. The other thing that I hope gets announced are some new operators for the global launch. So far, the operators have accidentally teased Frost, Maestro, Buck, and Capitao as operators that might be coming into the game in the future, and honestly, I think that Buck and Frost coming together for the global launch would be the perfect way for Rainbow Six Mobile to launch globally, because if you remember back with Rainbow Six Siege over on console and PC, Buck and Frost were the first DLC operators to kick off year one of the game when it was launching, and I think if they bring that back for mobile, that would be perfect, because they've already teased both of those operators coming. We've even had a snow map kind of teased at some point, and it looks like it might be an original map or it might be Chalet. We're not too sure, but either way, having Buck and Frost come with a new map as well will be an incredible way to kick off the global launch. Now, if you're curious as to why we think these operators are coming to Rainbow Six Mobile, I did make these two videos about all the operators that got leaked by accident by the developers, so y'all can check them out if you want. But that's going to be all for me. Let me know in the comments if you think my predictions are correct. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.